So I don't know about you, but sometimes when I think of feminism, I want to scream and rant and rave and smash things. Mainly the patriarchy. I'd like to smash that shit right apart. The promise of equality has been dangled in front of us for 50 years or more and has been very over-promise and under-deliver. And by us, I mean anyone who does not automatically and primarily benefit from the patriarchy, whatever gender, sexual orientation, race, or ability. I've worked full-time for the last 30 years and have had more jobs in a huge variety of industries than what is decent. I've seen some things. Right now, I'm a middle-aged middle manager in New Zealand's fastest growing tech company. My first job was in a male-dominated industry. In fact, every job I've had has been in a male-dominated industry because there is no such thing as a female-dominated industry. Childcare, nursing, teaching. The industries where women do dominate are constantly undermined by a society that devalues anything feminine and overvalues anything masculine. They are underpaid, undervalued, and at the constant whim of politicians. The patriarchy still dominates. There is no opposite to a male-dominated industry, period. I do have hope, however, that the tech industry can change this. I'm aware of the misogyny in tech. It is as flawed as any other industry is right now. But as an industry, it is a fast-moving disruptor and truly does have the potential to change the world with us as part of it. And I want to be part of that change, however small my part may be. I've not heard any other industry even paying lip service on equality in the workforce. You don't hear about how the hospitality industry tries to improve conditions for women. In fact, as an industry, they're still quite silent when it comes to how their female workers are treated by men in power. The most powerful changes which happen in our world or in our personal lives are often the smallest, and they combine into a powerful force. The most powerful change can start with just 4 words of encouragement. You can do it. That's it. That's sometimes all a person needs to hear. My parents were great fans of the "how could you? Why can't you be more like someone else? And what a disappointment" school of parenting. I heard a lot about what I did wrong and never heard much about how I could do anything right. I'm not even going to talk about the kind of marriage I found myself in at age 20, but when I finally got out of it, I'd kind of lost my shit. I was 27, separated with 2 toddlers. I was at the bottom of my barrel and had very few coping mechanisms. Somehow, I got myself to India for 3 months hoping for something to happen. Mainly travel, but maybe something life-changing. I took a camera and returned with about 20 rolls of film, which in those days turned into photos. Some of you look too young to know that. I was working in cafes then and showed the photos to some regular customers. One of them said, "They're good. You could exhibit them, and the council even have money for that kind of thing. You can do it." Somehow I heard him. It was the way he said it. It was genuine, realistic, and it was inspiring. It wasn't the fake, "Oh sure, you can totally be an astronaut." But I heard him. I did not reject his words. So I organised a small exhibition with dancers, storytellers, jugglers, and my photos hung on the wall of an Indian restaurant. I even sold some. The following year I organised another event, this time involving several hundred people, all because of what this one person said to me. A stronger person would have turned these events into a career. But the thing was, I was still losing my shit. I was still at the bottom of my barrel. But now the barrel had a little ladder and some light was shining in for me. And while it took a really long time to truly believe in myself, that first event was the pivotal point in believing that I could do something. I dare not think where I would be if that one person had not said to me, "You can do it." The patriarchy is my parents' voice, telling women that we aren't good enough, that whatever we do seems to be wrong, and who the hell do we think we are? It is up to us to be that person who says you can do it. We must take every opportunity to say to each other, yes, you can apply for that kick-ass job. You must do that new project, and you really can start up a business with that awesome idea. Those 4 words, you can do it, really does have the ability to change lives. But most importantly, we must hear those words. That was 17 years ago. In that time, I repartnered, my depression was diagnosed, and medication altered my mind to work with me and not against me. I was out of that barrel, and I was looking around that landscape of my life, and my journey continued. Everything still did challenge me though. Parenting, work, getting out of bed some days. I couldn't have it all. Some people can. Everyone is different. For me, surviving and getting my kids through high school was what I could do. I'd worked my way out of hospitality and turned myself into a bookkeeper, ending up in the most boring accounts job in the world. It was truly awful. I was suffocating, and the path I was on led nowhere. I needed to make a change. I was massively into the craft world then and had been podcasting for about a year or so. And after going to an event in the US, I saw a dynamic, fun world and wanted to be part of it. So I decided to start a magazine, as you do. I mean, how hard could it be? Yep. Within 2 months, the preview issue of Entangled magazine hit the digital shelves. It was slick, high-end looking magazine, which did not look like it was made late at night in a basement garage in New Zealand. A year later, I realised that my life hadn't actually really changed. All I'd done was add more work to it. I needed a leap of faith. So I left my partner, my job, decided the kids were old enough to go flatting, and I moved 500 kilometres away. I worked 16-hour days. The magazine grew slowly. I went through a business incubator program. I was finding out what I was good at and what I was not. After 10 months and a second magazine later, I had a meeting with someone who changed it all. He pointed out what in my heart I probably already knew, that the business did have potential, but it wasn't going to be the kind of business I wanted. At best, I'd be earning the equivalent of a corporate salary after several more years of serious investment with both time and money. I stopped that business the next day. My business wasn't a success, but my leap of faith was. I've now got the kind of work where I love getting up every day, and I'm living my life exactly how I want and when I want. It's always women who comment on my courage of taking that leap of faith, because leaps of faith are really fucking scary. But they always work out one way or another. We must trust our strength, and we must trust that we will survive a leap of faith. Even though I can take great leaps of faith, I still have to challenge my own self-perceptions. I've always wanted to speak at events, but I had to wait until I was somebody more important, until I realised that I didn't. When I received the original email for the first time I gave this talk, my first instinct was no, I'm not important enough. But then I realised I had an opportunity, and opportunities must not be wasted. I may just be a middle-aged middle manager, but I am already somebody, and you are already somebody. Planning this talk, I wasn't sure that the point of not being important enough was actually important enough until I had 3 different women that week say to me they don't feel they can speak up or do something to address the gender imbalance they experience in their workplace until they are someone more important. We are taught to not speak up, and we are taught to be quiet, work hard, and wait to get noticed. Whether it's conditioning or whether men and women do have different ways of communicating, it doesn't matter. I am sick of us not being heard. I want the world to accept that there is more than one style of speaking up, and it needs to learn to have more than one style of listening. In the meantime, you are already somebody. I give you all permission to speak now or wait till the end of the speech if that's okay. You are already someone, and you are already important. We cannot let women leaders shoulder this on their own. They need us behind them. They are also being told to sit down, shut up, and go away. They are being bullied, threatened, and harassed. We are already somebody, and who can do something. Your voice is valid, it is important, and it is needed. It's been 17 years since I first heard those words, "You can do it." In that time I have done lots of things, and in some respects I have done nothing. I am not a great leader with great power to make great changes in the world, but I am a middle-aged middle manager with the power to make daily changes to my world. I am going to tell you that you can do it. I am going to encourage you to take leaps of faith, and I will speak up and hear you when you speak. I will add my voice to others until we are heard, and I will take every opportunity to ensure that the future women leaders don't have to fight this shit anymore. Thank you. Thanks, Linda.